Now, as a real world case, let's say we want to create a simple shopping cart application that allows users to add and remove items from their cart. So we can use an array to store the items in the cart, and then we are going to use the array method that we learned to implement the functionality. And here is how we can do this. Now to store these items, we are going to use an empty array. So let cart is equal to an empty array. Now for adding and removing item into our cart, we are going to create two functions. The first function is for adding our item into the cart, and the second function is for removing item from our cart. So now I am going to create a function add cart items, then parentheses, and this function takes one parameter, which is item that user want to add. Now after this, we need to use our push method to add this item to the end of the cart array. So this is the array in which we want to store our item. So cart dot push, then parentheses. Now in these parentheses, we are going to use this item that we get from our user when we call this function. So here I am using this item. Now after this function also log. Now here I am using template literal. Then here we can say item is added into the cart like this. So this is our function to add our item into the cart. And now we need another function which is to remove item from our cart. Now I am just creating this function remove cart items. Then again this function also take one parameter, which is the item that user want to remove. Now in this, first thing that we are going to do is to find the index of that item that user want to remove. Now to find the index, we are going to use our index of method. So let index is equal to cart dot index. Now in here we are going to use the item that user want to remove. Now as we learned in previous video that this index of method returns -1 if item is not in our array. Now we are going to use this thing to check if the item that user want to remove is in the cart or not, and then we are going to show our user a message. So if index is not equal to -1, so if index is not equal to -1, this means that the item is in the cart. So after this we have our else block, and in this else block we only log this that the item that user want to remove is not in the cart like this. Now in this if block we are going to use our splice method to remove the item from the cart array. Now the name of our array is cart. Then on this we are going to use our splice method. Then this splice method take two parameter. The first parameter defines the position where new element should be added, and the second parameter defines how many elements should be removed. Now in our case, this is the index of this item that user want to remove. So we are using index, and for this second parameter we are going to use 1. And now it's time to add items into our cart by using this function. Now before adding items into our cart, first I want to check by logging this cart variable into our console. You can see this is empty. Now after this, we are going to use our add cart item function, and then here we are going to provide the item that we want to add. First we are going to add apple, then we can also add orange and mango. Now if we use this console.log after adding our item, you can see in our cart array we have three fruits: apple, orange and mango. Now let's say our user want to remove orange from this shopping cart. Simply we are going to use our remove cart item function. Then this function take one argument, which is the item that we want to remove. So we want to remove mango. Now if I hit save, so here you can see we have a type error: cart.index is not a function, because here I did a mistake while writing this. So this is not index, it's index of. Now if I hit save, you can see we successfully removed mango from our array. And now we have only two items. First one is apple and the second one is orange. And this is just a simple example of how we can use JavaScript arrays and array methods to create a shopping cart. This shows how we can use JavaScript arrays and array methods to create a simple shopping cart application that allow users to add and remove items from their cart. Now again, this first line of the code creates an empty array to store the items in the cart. Now on this next line, we have our add cart item function. Now this function takes one parameter, which is the item that our user want to add. And then in here we are using push method to add our item to the end of the cart array. And this function also displays a message to our user using this console.log method, which prints the message to the console that the item that user want to add is added into the cart. Now on this next line, we defined our remove cart items function, which also takes one parameter, which is the item that user wants to remove. And after this, now this index of method is used to find the index of this item from this cart array. And this index of method returns the first index at which the item can be found, or -1 if it is not present in our cart array. And after this we are using this if else block, and here we are saying if the index is not equal to -1, which means that item is in the cart. So if it is in the cart, then we do this, and if it is not in the cart, then we only log this that item is not in the cart. And we are using this method to remove the item from our cart array. Now at the end, we are testing our functions by adding and removing items from the cart. So this is just a simple example of how we can use JavaScript arrays and arrays method to create a shopping cart application. There are many other ways to implement this functionality and many other arrays method that can be useful for working with arrays. You can learn more about JavaScript arrays and arrays method by visiting MDN website. You can search on Google MDN JavaScript arrays method. Here you can see we have a lot of method that we can use with our arrays. And that's all that I want to show you in this video. And from next video, we are going to learn about JavaScript objects, which is another way of storing data in JavaScript. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more exciting web development tutorials. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Keep coding, keep creating, and I will see you in the next video.